Hey, I'm Kim Roots. I'm editor-in-chief of TV Line. Can I get a what for TV Line? Thanks so much for being here to celebrate Outlander's 10th anniversary celebration. There is this room. There are many other rooms full of people. This is the place to be tonight, yeah? All right, let's bring out everybody that you want to see. Keep the applause going, please. I'm going to start with Meryl Davis, our executive producer. Woo! Followed by John Bell, who plays young Ian Murray. Who plays Roger Mackenzie. I love that right as I was about to introduce Sophie, he just stood right in front of me. Sophie Skelton, who plays Brianna Mackenzie. Ewan, who plays Jamie Fraser. And our last but not least, Katrina Balfe, who plays Claire Fraser. Sorry. This is so cool, yeah? This is like we never get all of you together on such a momentous occasion. This is so cool. And they've also been doing press all day, and yesterday. So, right? This is going to be a nice, chill, let's look back at 10 years.
We have no idea where we are.
Don't worry about it. Just you're going to talk about season 8, so it's all good. Don't worry about it. All right, so season 7, part 2 is going to air starting in November, on November 22nd, on Starz, and you guys just wrapped production on the final season. Well, this is a big feelings crowd I'm getting.
Yeah.
All right, so that's a long time to play these characters, especially characters that so much happens to them, right, in the course of everything. In a minute, Katrina, I'm going to start with you, but first, we have a bunch of clips we're going to show you guys tonight to jog memories. So first, we're going to take a look at our first clip, which is little Jamie and Claire back in the day, season 2.
Us or little? Still crying. 200 years later.
Does it seem like a long time ago?
That was such a crazy day. We showed up to that place. So that's Kinloch Rannoch. That's where it's where everyone's come through the stones. It's a very, very special place. And we showed up that morning, and honestly, it was like Disney himself had come out and just sprinkled snow everywhere, but yet the sun was shining. It was so beautiful. And then we took our 200 crew and they stamped on it. It was like, we'd done 2 takes and it looked like a mud bath, and then they were like, paper snow. But I think that's one of our favorite scenes ever.
Yep.
I think it was so... crew cried that day. And that's a feat. If you can get hairy Scottish crew to cry, you know you've done something.
And not because of the snow.
Yeah. Just because they were cold. No, I think you're right. It's just beautiful. We've talked about it so much in the last couple of days, but it was beautiful, this sort of dance that they do, and that's the beginning of...
Brian.
I just need to tell you. Yeah. Sam, I'm going to start with you, but I kind of want to open this up. That is a very different Jamie than the Jamie that we know now, right, in season 7. A lot, like I said, a lot's happened. Lots happened to him. Is there an era in being Jamie? Is there a part of the Eras tour? Yeah, exactly. That you've really been yes, this is amazing, or one that you found more challenging? What kind of what stands out for you as either really great or really hard?
Yeah, I mean, it has been a road trip, right, and a huge journey, because we started playing younger than we were. and we've just finished playing older than we are, but unfortunately it feels like we're closer to the age. I'm like 60 now, and I feel like I'm around that age. But no, I mean, at that point, that's it. And after that, she's gone, and Jamie believes she's dead, and he lives in the memories of her, and he's a shadow of himself. And then we had the whole of season 3. And actually, season 3 for me, weirdly, even though we were apart, it was super interesting.
Good prefix.
Because we got to see these characters apart from each other, and they are incredible when they're together, and we've seen this journey that they've gone on in their relationship. But actually apart, who are they? And yeah, that was kind of interesting, because in every episode of season 3, Jamie was a different character.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think ultimately they are always stronger together.
Oh my God, the cheese.
You know, he talks about being happy to be apart, and then he's like, oh, but they're always together.
I just need a little space, okay?
What, to have like another child? Or? Asking for a friend, I don't know.
Wasn't ginger like you.
This is really undermining the like Jamie and Bree meet each other sweetness that I'm going to get to later, but you know, it's all good. It's all good. Sophie, Richard, John, any kind of period that you've played your characters that you're like, yes, like this was me living my best life as an actor.
Ooh, I mean, I think for me, young Ian's return at the end, halfway through season 5, was like. It was goosebumps. Like when we last saw him, it was tears, and this major sacrifice he made, and then he comes with this whole new look, this new demeanor. It was so wonderful to play. It was these two sides of his personality, and it's lovely to see them kind of come together from that moment on. But yeah, thank you. How sweet. And I even have Bear McCreary's Young Ian Returns on my phone whenever I need to like feel
Okay, hold on.
I'll like
So
play
like
it.
you're like in traffic and someone cuts you off and you're like,
Like Young Ian Returns right now.
Is it when?
End the zone. Yeah.
Is it when he calls you?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
I'm picturing Roger super excited to go back in time to the 18th century. He's made his own costume. He's getting ready. He's got his corduroys. He's got his 7 shades of beige. He's got his wee hat on. He's thinking, I'm going to go back, I'm going to find Brianna, I'm going to meet my father-in-law. Can't wait to meet him, I've heard a lot about him. The big hulking legendary Jamie Fraser. We're going to sit down in a tavern together. And we're going to have a pint of ale, maybe a haunch of meat. And, no, it's not what happens. He gets his face smashed in. He gets dragged on horseback about 20 miles south and sold to the Mohawk for, what was it, a bag of rice?
Times are tough. Also, I was just rearranging your face to make it look more.
You know what? Thank you. I've never thanked you for.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, you've
plastic
done-
surgery is expensive.
Don't need it. Don't need it if you've got Jamie Fraser.
In your defense, I do then come to your rescue and clock him in the face. And you.
You do.
Yeah, you do. I get a slap as well.
The phrases are kind of, yeah.
Violent.
Yeah.
They're known for jumping to conclusions.
Welcome to the family.
Hey, Brian, what's your era?
I think we were at Murrayfield when you
Where's
had
my money,
yours,
man?
huh?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was. I mean, yeah, I don't think season 4 is a fantastically joyous time for any of the characters, but honestly, I think 7's very difficult. I think this is the first time we see Brianna sort of go into proper mama bear mode. She's been very good at defending herself, and now she's defending her kids. And yeah, you really start to see to what lengths she'll go to do that. So, watch out, Rob Cameron.
Meryl, often when shows go on for a while, the writers start picking up little things from the actors and kind of working them into the character. Was there anything that has worked its way in from this?
I'm like laughing already for some reason. I don't know why.
Let me tell you.
At least you're not crying.
Yeah, exactly.
It's later.
Yeah. I think, I mean, I'm not a writer, but I'll speak for them, that I think, of course, we start to see these people as the characters. It's impossible not to. And they start, I feel like when we come in, we kind of all own the character in some ways. We all have a part of that timeshare, so to speak. And everyone, as it goes on, they embody the character to the point that you don't really separate that. Do you know what I mean? And they bring as much to it as the writers do, and it's kind of this great collaboration. So I don't think you sit there thinking, oh, John does this, so we're gonna do that. But it just becomes. Do you know what I mean? It's just, we see how they play it, and we're in the editing room and we see it, and they are the characters.
Mm-hmm. Talk to me about the very beginning. I mean, this is a thing, right? Like, you guys are part of a thing.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Thank you.
But, I mean, the books were obviously very popular, right? In the beginning, Diana Gabaldon has this legion of fans, which I am definitely a part of. Yeah, but books don't always translate to success on screen. Like, we've seen that before. So did you have any sense coming into this, especially you two, that like this might be a few years down the line?
Not when we started.
No.
We were talking about this earlier. I mean, Sam had already been cast. I remember sending in audition tapes, and then I got this notice that, oh, they're going to test you. And I went round to my local bookstore and I found the book and I read it in 4 days. And I was just like, oh my God, I'm going to get to do this and this. And like, this is such an adventure. But you've no idea what it is, or I didn't realize how popular the books were or anything. And then we went to an event. We'd been filming for about 2 months, but nobody had seen anything, and it was in LA. And I think there was 2,000 people had come to this event, and we were just like, I mean, you can see it in our faces. There's photographs from that. We're like, absolutely shell-shocked.
Yeah. And I think, because we are in a bubble in Scotland, and, we'd seen on social media maybe, but it's kind of the beginning of, there you go. Social media has changed, but it was the beginning of Twitter and all that stuff, so we were interacting, but so you saw it there, but we really didn't have any real experience. And then we went to the first Comic-Con in Los Angeles, or San Diego, and that was just mind-blowing to see our Highlander fans having a dance-off with the Sharknado sharks. Some sort of musical. It was incredible, but yeah.
Who won that dance?
Obviously.
And then coming into it like a little bit later, like obviously like a bit more established, a lot more screaming at events and things like that. Did you guys have that sense? Was there any pressure because there was kind of a...
I mean, it definitely brought a little more pressure, but I think we were quite fortunate. And these guys had kind of done the legwork and set the tone for the show, and we sort of got to come in a year later and just ride on your coattails, so thank you guys. So we had it a little bit easier, but that did come with the blessing of knowing what we were getting ourselves in for. But as Sam said, just to echo that, I think the fact that we're kind of hidden away in Scotland shooting, and it's notoriously a tough shoot, there's lots of rain, mud, we're really battling the elements. So we're just very in it, and when we come to do things like this with you guys and we get to actually share the characters and stories with you and see how much it really affects people, it's so emotional. And I think that was the first time it's kind of come full circle, but Comic-Con, I think season 2 is the first time I was like, whoa, this is a thing. So yeah, it's kind of poetic to be here with you guys this week, so yay. Thank you guys.
Have you all seen people cosplaying you? Have you interacted with that?
They always look more like Brianna than me, and I'm like, do you want to do the photos? Because everyone's disappointed when they see me. So
I saw someone dressed as Roger and Brianna. Wow. Or maybe it was just Brian.
It was Brian.
But like literally split down the middle, and I was like, I don't know how to react.
Maybe there was a split in the stones somewhere.
I think that's what it was. Someone came dressed as like going partially through the stone.
Has
like
anyone
half of them was one of the stones.
Oh my God.
It was amazing.
That's
cool. It was like
That's actually very
that takes
cool.
some ingenuity.
I've seen some interesting young Ians,
Really?
for sure. Yeah, a lot of swimming caps. painted pink.
That's amazing.
Kind of look more like a condom sometimes. But
We're talking about the show.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot. Yeah, I thought we were a family.
Meryl, because Diana's given us so much source material, right? Like you and I have spoken in the past, like how do you get that into a season of television, series of television? I want to hear about the stuff that you wanted to get in, but just couldn't.
I get asked that question a lot, and it's very hard to answer because
I know, but you're going to answer it now, though.
it's just hard to answer because the explanation of why sometimes we don't do it is so long. But, I mean, I can't think of anything recent necessarily, but I know way back in the day, the Ring story and how it kind of evolved, I certainly was hoping we'd do maybe a little closer to the book. And, it's just along the way there are. I don't know if there's anything major that I would say that I missed, but I think the problem is as you go, it's so hard. I mean, the books are like this big. Yeah. And, I think the writers, especially in season 7, they took 2.3 books and basically condensed them into this one season. And I don't know how they did it. I mean, it's a cohesive season, and you don't miss the parts that aren't there, although I'm sure some people do. But I think they made such a roller coaster ride of this season, and every season it's like that. It's like, what do we have to leave on the floor? And it's not our fault. It is not our fault. But we only have so much time to tell these episodes, so something has to go.
But I also think, like, when we get to read the books, even if it doesn't make it into the show, we've kind of absorbed that. And I think it imbues your performance anyway. So, I think it's always there underneath.
If you remember the Blood Oath, I think we actually filmed it several times.
Yeah.
And there were times that we'd done this Blood Oath and I think there was even makeup where we had it on, and it's just like you sort of forget. So then we tried it again later on in a different season, and there's certain things that we tried to put in, and it just never quite made it.
Yeah, and sometimes they come back around. I mean, never know what you're going to see in season 8.
Yeah, right. Lots of Blood Oaths, yes.
Ooh.
That was a tease.
Yeah. I want to talk about some of the show's biggest moments, like the wedding night. Wentworth Prison, we don't have to deal with, like Roger and Bree reuniting, the print shop scene, which is my particular favorite. We're going to watch one of them now, and then we're going to talk a little bit more about these big scenes.
You're Jamie Free.
Sam, how does one keep that many? Oh, there it win.
Sorry.
Unshed tears in your eye in that. I marvel at how did they not, how did that happen? How do you do that? All right.
I don't know, because to be fair, it was quite cold, and I remember I just had snot that kept coming out.
That's my girl.
And that was actually the first scene we ever shot together, and then every friggin' day I came on set and he was like, "There's Snotty Bree." Welcome to the show.
That's the kind of heartwarming story that I'm looking for. I was going to ask, like these moments are big, right? They're big for the book readers. They're waiting for them. They're big for, if you're watching the show, things are building. So is there a heightened feel while you're shooting, before you're shooting, that like, we've got to get this right? Does that get in the way of doing the thing and making it good? Just anything. Let's start with that one, like Sam and Sophie. Like, do you feel that pressure? Did you feel that pressure?
I mean, I definitely used to. I think, like these guys said, I think most of us read the books before we joined. We wanted to do justice to the book fans and also to the characters and be able to map out the journey of where the characters were going and place that within the season. So I definitely felt a pressure to make sure that she was the Brianna from the book. And I think that once I actually let go of that, and once, like Meryl said, we kind of all organically found the character ourselves and brought in a bit of ourselves, that's when I sort of let go of the pressure a little bit. But that scene I did, and because I think it was the first time we've worked together, and I was like, oh, I just don't think I'm shit.
No, you were amazing, and it was. And I think that there are so many of these moments, book moments, that I think we've all had to deal with. And, I think the producers and writers were so careful, and definitely you felt the pressure. When they're all suddenly on set, you're like, okay, this is one of them. Oh shit. But I think ultimately at some point you have to just forget that. And I think when we got more used to it, we're like, no, we just have to play the truth of it. And sometimes what you found is like you read the book version and then you do our version. And then actually, the more truth you put into it, somehow they always married. They always kind of seem to come together. So yeah, but that moment there was, I know, so special for us. And it's so hard to watch them at back, actually, to kind of go, I wish I'd done it better. And,
Yeah, I know.
it's hard to watch, yeah.
I'll tell you something very funny about that moment, though. Kind of funny. Is that that's a perfect example of a moment from the book that we were like, iconic moment, we have to do it. There's a lot of pressure to get it right for the fans. But already we go in and we're like, there's not a tree there like there is the book. And then I cannot tell you how many people said to me, but Jamie Fraser just went to the bathroom. And he's going to hug his daughter. And he didn't wash his hands. And you're like, yeah, but we're going to ignore that.
I was super conscious of that when we were filming. I was like, how truthful do we play this? Because really, I just want to be like, nice to meet you, Dad.
Also in the book, I think he thinks he's being propositioned
Yes,
by
he
her.
does.
So I mean, there's always moments, and anyway, it was a squeezy lemon, so it's.
Didn't you have like a juice box in your pants?
Squeezy
Yeah.
lemon. Yeah. Also felt we had a bit of a running joke that Jamie was always slightly disappointed that she was a girl, and that he was always trying to make her a boy. So he'd try and teach her to wrestle and to hunt and do manly things.
Yeah.
But,
I think you wore my chaps at one point as well.
yeah.
I did, and trying to traipse along the Scottish mountains and those with these little...
It's not easy.
Bee hunting.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, just slipping down a mountain.
Another one of those big scenes, this is going to take it down for a minute, sorry. Richard, is when Roger gets hanged, and we watched it all. I can't tell if that's like, yes, let's talk about
That
this,
took
or
a,
like,
that took a really sharp turn from love and reuniting and father and daughter to like Roger gets hanged. He did get hanged. It's pretty hard. Squeezy lemons. Sorry, please
I
continue.
guess we forgot though, because he only kept talking about it for 2 more seasons.
No. I think it's them you have to apologise. I don't care.
amazing. They put that hood over you.
Yeah.
Like, you know you're not gonna die.
Wait,
but
he's
does
got
your-
his own special episode as well. It's all like black and
I
white.
think I deserve my own special episode. I think I deserve many more special episodes.
Sorry.
Hang on, wait. What's the question?
You know, I've lost complete control. I have no idea.
So you're talking about the bag over the
Yeah,
head.
so like you obviously, you know this is, but does your body know, like, are you, like, is there anything in there that's like, ooh, this is, like, do you have any kind of reaction when you're shooting?
It was I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure whether or not I was going to. I didn't know what was happening. But what I will say though, it was particularly harrowing, and it was quite kind of it was very dark to have that hood over your head. And I'm stood on a platform, and they used a special lens. It was kind of like a snoot. It was a very long lens to get inside inside the sack, inside the bag, right?
Sorry.
Do you want to tell?
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
if you know the story, you can.
No, I'm sorry. I went back to the JV condom comment, and then you were saying. I was just in my
That
own.
would have been a
Do
very
you need a minute, Brian?
Sorry.
Because you told you a bit.
I did. I'm so sorry. Please continue.
So it's quite like to have that and to be in that environment in the studio. It was all very dark, and you've got the person basically reading me my last rites, and you've got that lens coming through, a little gap in that hood. It was it was quite scary. It was very, very dark.
Yeah.
And quite sort of surreal and harrowing. So it was like a. I don't know. These guys don't know anything. So I thought it was pretty fucking scary.
It was
Anyway, so then he wasn't hanged, and Claire saves him, and we all go on about our day.
All right, so let's turn to something slightly more joyful,
Yes, let's.
or at all. So the print shop scene, Sam, I want to hear about the fainting. I want to hear how much you practiced the fainting. I want to hear if you thought the fainting was good enough to merit the coming back. Like, I want to know about it. Everything about the print shop
I
scene.
want to go back to the hanging, to be honest. There was a point where he had the bag over his head, and we were like, should we all just leave him, see me? The fainting, yes, gracefully, a graceful faint that.
I think that's in the
Like a
book, right?
gazelle.
Yeah.
Like a gazelle, yes. Another one of those moments where you're like, oh God, this is a huge moment where they see each other, and actually I think, we were sort of like one of those moments. It kind of felt like it was the end of the day, and we were sort of rushed, and we hadn't actually worked together for quite a while, I think.
Yeah, for about 6 months. Or
Right,
something, yeah.
and Jamie sees his wife and faints, as you do. And I don't really know what to say about it. I think he's just. There's all these Jamie moments where you think he's going to say something strong and stoic and whatever, and actually he surprises you with something completely different.
Katrina, what's your memory of that?
And then he walks around with no pants on. Just put some pants on.
I do. I remember.
Didn't wear a sack though.
I remember that day because I remember, it was because you were doing a lot of stuff down with Geordie, and there was a lot of printing stuff going on, and then they were like, "Oh, we're just going to have you in for eyeline," but the camera was coming up, and I was like, no, I wasn't in my costume, and I got very confused. Yeah. But it's one of those moments. It's like, I think it's so perfectly beautiful and like. Out of left field, it's like you expect maybe that he's going to rush to her, but the fact that he faints is like kind of comedic and also so sweet, and it gives her this moment to be like, oh shit, So you expect the reunion to be one thing, and then it becomes something else, and I think it's beautiful.
Did I kill my husband?
It was fun though. It was nice, and it was nice to start working together again because we had been separated for a while.
Yeah, surprising too. I mean, Outlander has all these
surprising to be nice to be working together.
Surprising to work with you again.
I will say the moment that, or the scene that follows that, when you guys are having kind of the like your real thing, is one of the most beautiful, intimate scenes in the entire show. It's so lovely. I get to just tell them that because I'm sitting up here. John, I'm going to come to you.
Sure.
Young Ian has undergone perhaps the biggest change from when we met him.
Dramatic change.
Right,
yeah,
right?
100%.
Yeah. How aware of how much... Brian.
Give it to me.
How much of his change did you know about coming in? How much were you involved in kind of how he would look and how he would carry himself?
I think similar to what you were saying earlier, Katrina, it's kind of like, I get to do this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and this. And it was like, whoa, the journey that I'm about to embark on is kind of mind-blowing. I'm just going to have to take it a day at a time. Yeah. But I was excited. I was like, oh my gosh, I get to learn Mohawk. I get to, learn how to do a bow and arrow. I'm still not very good at the bow and arrow.
How are you at the Mohawk? Like, do you have any kind of grasp of it? Or?
Well, yeah, I did. I learned a lot of it for season 4. I wanted to make sure that we worked closely with the elders of the Mohawk Nation, and I loved that culture. I thought it was amazing. So Saigon, it was beautiful. And yeah, bows and arrows, Mohawk, like his
you
love.
with your tomahawk.
Made that
he
tomahawk.
Can make that
I'm a bit of a dancer. And so I love all the fight choreography that Ian gets to do. I've always got soundtracks playing in my head.
Is it Last of the Mohicans?
It's not Last of the Mohicans. It's not.
Is it AC/DC Thunder?
It's not AC/DC Thunder. It's actually Don't Rain on My Parade.
Don't rain on my parade.
Yeah.
50 frames a second. Yeah.
So please, go ahead.
I was just going to say, we also last night were talking about, of all of the cast, John has had the biggest, he was a baby when we started, a baby.
I'm just a baby.
Couldn't even
Still a
drink.
baby. He's still
And look at him now.
I'm just a baby.
Yeah.
I always had a lot of respect for how much you do dive into the culture and the language of everything that you've been going through over the last few seasons. You take it very take on board and really sensitive and respectful approach.
Of course, like it's the least we can do.
Yeah.
You know, young Ian's story. I'm so proud of it. I really am. Yeah.
We are actually going to watch a pivotal moment in young Ian's journey right now. I'm noticing a theme. There's a lot of crying and hugging in these clips, and I saw them before, but I did not notice it until just now. It's okay, it's all good. John, like, do you remember how you felt going into that day? Like,
no. That was so many years ago now. I remember that set. I remember all of that Mohawk village that our incredible set designers built. The details in that set, it really felt like we were stepping back in time, truly. One of my favorite memories of the show was those night shoots we did in that Mohawk village. You know, it was the stars were literally in the sky. We had amazing essays around us, dressed in traditional, you know, clothing, playing the drums and like sharing stories around a campfire. Like, it's goosebumps to still think about it.
We had an incredible group of First Nations from Canada who came over. How many?
150 or
150? Yeah, 150. It was one of the most incredible times. We were filming in this beautiful forest outside of Perth, and we had one of the nights of reshoots, or not reshoots, of shooting at night. We were doing night shoots, and one of the guys, there's a hospital in Perth, and one of the guys who was dressed completely in Mohawk, in a Mohawk costume, got an arrow stuck in his leg. Probably maybe I shouldn't be telling this story. But he ended up in the emergency room in Perth Hospital at 3 a.m. dressed as a Mohawk with an arrow. Like, how do you explain that to the doctor? You're like,
There was also another beautiful moment where they asked us to do a ceremony for some people they'd found interred back in Canada, Native Americans, and we all sat around, we were all given a piece of tobacco.
Yep.
And they sang and played the drums, and it was the whole crew were there, the cast, and it was sort of so magical and so beautiful.
Yeah.
And, they brought so much to the show.
Huge amounts, yeah. And to just be a part of that story is just like
Amazing.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool as heck.
Sophie, I want to talk to you. You and I a couple years ago discussed how Brianna is fiery like Jamie is. But when Jamie is fiery, everyone's like, yes. And when Brianna is fiery, everyone's like, oh, come on.
She's such a brat.
Can we explore that a little bit? Do you feel like as you've been more in the character that either like that sense has gone away a little bit, or like, because it's true, she's smart and impulsive and all the things that her dad is, right?
Yeah, I mean, I do think it is, as I said to you back then.
And her mom.
Charming. Tall.
I mean, did her mom have anything got to do with it?
Generous. Ginger.
Yeah, it is something that I did mention a fair bit at the beginning, because I do feel it is part of a wider conversation, which, you know, in the duration that we've been on the show is now more of a mass talked about topic. But I definitely think that was, in a younger woman, that presentation did come across a little more bratty, shall we say, or it was often vocalized that was how people had received that. But I think as Brianna's gotten older, she has managed to hone in her hot-headedness and to take a second step back and act a little bit more like her mother, which is, I think, kind of take a minute, calculate the situation. Not always, but kind of calculate the situation, assess, and act accordingly. And so I do think she is a really good mix of her parents. But yeah, I definitely think Jamie gets away with a smidge more.
Did Jamie create matches from nothing? I don't think he did.
Right.
No, but then...
Did Jamie create matches from nothing, knowing that their parents died in a house fire?
Good point.
And take them back to a house where her mother was messing with flammable substances.
House made of wood.
House made of wood.
Good one, Brian. Yeah.
Well, I was going to go to Richard next, but we're going to move on from here. Do you think Roger had any sense of what he was marrying into?
I don't know. I mean, it was a lot to unpack, wasn't it?
What do you think his life would be like if he hadn't? Like, what would his
man, I think about this
non-time
often.
travel life be?
Really, really, really nice. Really, really simple. I mean, he'd be going about his
a TV
day.
show, would he?
Huh?
I don't think he'd have a TV show.
He definitely would not have a TV show. Like, he'd be going about his day, teaching his history at Oxford. He'd
Wearing
have a very
his
sort
corduroy.
Yeah, with his corduroys, various, shades of beige. He'd have a nice girl, and she'd probably have a nice, steady profession, and they'd raise a couple of kids, and maybe
They'd all wear
retire
beige.
on a farm or something like that.
They'd all wear beige.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole fucking thing's beige. So I don't think there's going to be a Roger prequel. Not in that context. But now, maybe, yeah.
Just where-
Roger Mac, True Detective.
It's just where he goes around mansplaining to people what the Latin origination of that word was.
Loves to. It's not mansplaining, it's people. It does it to everyone. He does it to Jamie.
Rihanna speaks Latin.
Explains things that no one needs explaining. He does it a lot. He monologues history.
Every episode, he's a different profession as well.
How did this become the Roger dump? Because I love Roger. Roger's awesome, and don't you let anyone tell you different.
And I don't. So.
It's said with love. It's said with love.
But I do imagine all the different Roger Barbies. Got history teacher Roger. You got Mohawk victim Roger. You got
Reverend
priest Roger. Oh, you got naked sexy Roger. You got a whole range there.
I'm just picturing like the Ryan Gosling Kens at the Oscars, all the Rogers dancing on stage. We could make it happen.
Well, you haven't seen season 8 yet. So.
Hey.
The musical episode.
Well, while we're all ruminating on Roger, we're going to watch a sweet moment between Sophie and Richard's characters now. That was some pretty impressive running in that costume, I'll say.
Sophie ran 3 miles.
Dude, honestly, I am the clumsiest person in the cast, and the fact that I didn't face plant, that is my biggest flex of the last 10 years. But I did have to take my shoes off because those dresses, especially when they get a bit wet, the wool just completely stretches, and so they grow about 2 inches and they're so heavy. So I'm just continuously having to do this sprint back and forth, and so I took off the shoes, and then I had health and safety running after me like, no, there could be something in the grass, put your shoes on, put your shoes on. I was like, they're blistered and bleeding. I think of it as something on the floor as a lesser of two evils, but thank you.
That comes at the end of such a long road for those two characters. Did you feel that? I mean, we all felt that sense of like, this is the thing that should have happened. This is a beautiful thing, and a sense of relief. Did you guys feel that while you were?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's one of the hardest things that Brianna's ever been through in her life, and people who are unfortunate enough to go through something that Brianna has, I think even just having a familiar face around is such a sense of relief. And not only that, but she's just had to give birth to a baby, whose parentage she doesn't know whether it's come from the trauma that happened to her or what, and she's just then had to give birth without any pain meds, might I say, in front of loads of strangers. And so after something that's already so isolating, she really is thrust into darkness and into quite a dark place for everyone, especially as a woman from the future. Goes against all of her morals and everything she knows. And so the fact that Roger comes back is one thing, and then at the end of that scene when he says, "Take me to see my son," there's that relief of Brianna, not only just in his response, but in knowing that she's married a good man who, no matter where the child came from, he's still going to accept her and is still with her. That is something that I think for her is just heartbreakingly beautiful, and I think that's where that relief comes from.
Yeah.
And she thought he was dead, so that's always nice too.
What a good husband. He's like, yeah, that was good.
Great. I agree. I mean, he only took 4 or 5 days to decide whether or not he was going to come back. Which I remember being quite a difficult thing to kind of get my head around. It's quite difficult to play. I had to really dive deep to sort of summon up that sort of motivation. Because I thought, Roger, go home. Let's just go home. But he came back. He was really hated for taking that moment to think about it. People didn't enjoy that about Roger. I kind of get that. It's like, go home to your wife, man.
Can I just say I'm here for the hairy Roger Barbie.
Listen. I was 2 or 3 hours in makeup for that. It was a long day. It was like a 4 o'clock call.
Don't be jealous. You don't have the same rug.
I see the whole collection here.
That idea of reunion and couples breaking apart and coming back together, I mean, it is at the heart of the show. It's the whole
Never
show.
happened
right?
to us.
So Meryl, my question to you is, in the books, obviously, there are many pages over which these things play out. We have less time in the show, even with time jumps and things like that. How do you handle these reunions and breaking aparts and not make it seem like, okay, they're apart again and they're coming back together again? Like, it's done really well, but that's a tricky needle to thread.
I think we've always said this is not like Claire and Jamie are not Sam and Diane. It's not Matt, Robert. Well, no, I'm just saying Matt Roberts, our showrunner, always says it's never a will they, won't they? It's when. Like, when will they get back together? So we're not constantly thinking, oh, are they breaking up, they getting back together? It's like, we know they're a strong couple. It's just outside forces always force them apart. And honestly, I hate to say it, but some of the best periods are when they are apart because we get to see them come together. And those are the most exciting for any of the couples, actually, to get them back together. And the struggle to get back together, for me, is emotional and exciting and adds kind of a spice.
Yeah, definitely. I'm wondering if Diana, does she weigh in anymore? How much of a say does she have in the show, or how much of an opinion does she have of the show? And how maybe some of the actors, conversations you've had with her about your character. So maybe Meryl, if you want to take the first part.
I mean, from the beginning, Diana has been so lovely, and she has done the same thing since the beginning. She sees all the cuts, she sees all the scripts, she sends notes, thoughts, etc. But she's been so generous with her books and has been unbelievably great about saying, hey, the books are mine. Like, I'm not worried about it, and I know you have to do what you have to do with the show sometimes, because I know it's hard to understand sometimes, but the translating from book to screen is tricky, and sometimes even when we want to, you can't do things for some reason. And she's been so unbelievably wonderful about that, and such a great support this whole run. So we're eternally grateful to her.
Do you know how the next book ends?
I don't. I mean, Sam and I have seen the end, but how she gets there, I don't know.
I have to say, I think Diana's always been on top of this. She's always been quite vocal in her own particular way. And I think, there were many times we'd be shooting a scene and then the next day we're at work and I'd get an email or a private message or a tweet and she'd be commenting on what we just shot the day before. Like, she would watch the rushes. She would watch daily. And I think she's always been, from a distance, been very, very much the overseeing.
All right.
Diana.
I know.
Diana, are you?
Probably should have figured out if she was in the room before I asked the question. All right, so anyone can chime in on any of these. Is there a costume, prop, wig, or prosthetic that you would be happy to never have to touch again?
Corset. Let's get the matches on that thing. Yeah, corset, I think.
I didn't love the back. I mean, it's amazing, incredible prosthetics, and certainly the season where Jamie gets whipped, where Tobias really did manage to whip me a few times, but it'll help your performance. But it really is amazing, and our makeup department, they took it from like several hours to put it on to almost like an hour or hour and a half to get it on. It's so quick, but they did such an incredible job. But it's just uncomfortable, and you sweat a lot, and it's kind of gross. But
It's interesting, though, we gave Sam, and thanks to his amazing hair and makeup professional, Wendy, she gave us his back, and we mounted it for him.
That's mother.
We mounted it for him, and I was shocked to find that the back looked like Scotland or the.
It is an Easter egg for you guys.
I know.
But yes, the scarring is the shape of Scotland,
yeah.
and it's now framed on my wall.
Wow. Anything for you, Katrina?
That I don't want to see again. I was thinking about it. I was like, I mean, I definitely, I'm a comfort girl. So, you know, a lot of those, they were so beautiful. A lot of the like really finery dresses and all of that from Claire, like, I can appreciate the artistry that went into them, and I appreciate them visually, but I like to be able to go to the bathroom by myself. So, you know, I don't miss wearing those. But I don't know. I think I got very lucky. I think Claire throughout has had a very, you know, we've been able to marry a little bit of the future with a little bit of the past, and like, thank God she got some pockets, and she, you know, she was able to just tailor everything just a little bit more towards comfort, which may have had some influence from me.
Amazing.
Go
ahead, John.
Actually, about us as well, I never want to drive a horse and cart.
Oh, yes.
No, I don't want to.
I love
do that.
horses, love horse rides, and like, you know, I love a little horse ride. But a horse and cart's a different situation, and I nearly killed Richard trying to.
Oh, we were there.
Let's hear the story.
I feel quite bad about that, actually.
I know, bless. You did. I mean, it was like lightning how quickly you managed to leap off that cart, though, as when things started to get
I don't
wrong.
know
I've
what he
never
was
seen
doing.
you
He
more
had the reins. I
springy.
don't know what he was doing. He's heading towards this fucking tree. I'm like, dude, you're heading towards the tree. And I was like, put, you know, adjust your reins and like, steer it back onto the road. And I was like, JP, you're gonna, no, away. And he goes straight into this fucking tree, and the
Never
whole
again.
thing like tips over.
Everyone was fine. The horse was fine. It was okay, but it was a bit scary. So yeah, none of that.
It was
for
almost
me.
like you were deliberately steering it towards this thing, though. Didn't you do it twice?
Is his horse and cart riding a little bit like you're driving?
Touche. Actually, it wasn't my driving, it was a double clutch.
Okay.
It was the car's fault.
It was quite funny. Katrina and I, it was when we were filming the scene where, it was when we sent you back through the stones, right? End of season 3.
Do you want to do this? Do you want to do this?
I know, please don't start on me. I'm just telling this one tiny story. My driving's great. Let's not.
Didn't you almost crash into Laddybrock Wall?
Wow.
I'm telling my story.
Sorry.
It's not even as good now. Yeah, I did. Anyway, it's this really emotional scene, and we're sending Claire back through the stones, and so Katrina and I are sort of, you know, on the verge of tears. It's all very sad, and he's meant to be coming around the corner with a snooze, and all you can hear is. And so Katrina and I just look at each other on close-ups, like. It's very not to laugh. But.
Yeah, it was a horrendous noise. Yeah, it's often like.
I mean, to be fair,
And it's like 2
no
or 3
one
in the
up
morning.
here can drive. You shouldn't talk. You.
I have hit.
In real life. In
In
real
my
life.
defense, mine hit black
In
eye.
real life, I'm a very good driver, no matter what the LADM. Very good driver.
I've never had a speeding ticket.
Neither have I. Thanks to Wendy Ways. It was like, come on.
We've lost.
I have a video. I have a video.
Put it out there,
I have a video of Sophie driving in the 80s.
Dude, my legs were too short.
Single
It's like, so I had to shift the seat
She's
forward.
like, I keep stalling the car. I'm like, yeah, you see that pedal on the left? Press it.
Yeah.
It's all coming out now. Finished.
I was going to ask about like a day you do on set. I feel like we're getting a lot of them right now. But is there anything like that you think of? I mean, obviously things move very quickly. Sometimes like all of us can't ever do exactly what we want when in the time frame that our jobs require it. Is there anything that you think about and you're like, oh, I just wish I'd had another take, or that I would have done it a different way? Meryl, this also applies to you with like episodes.
Oh God. I mean, why am I starting first? Is there a day I want to do over again?
Just any moment, anything?
Oof. So many things. I mean, there's too many to count. But I will say, I mean, to flip that question a little bit, I would say, and I'm probably gonna get teary because, you know, as people know, I was like waterworks all this last season. So, but I mean, honestly, any moment on set with these guys and our crew, I would do over in a heartbeat. Follow that, suckers.
It's quite interesting because I think, and I don't know, not to speak for you guys, I don't know if you agree, but usually the best takes are the ones where you're so out of your head that you don't know what happened. But that often does come with then the downside of that, which is where you kind of get home and you're playing it in your head again. You're like, oh man, I wish I'd done that with it. I wish I'd done X, Y, Z. So it's quite common for me at least that you come home and maybe it's just being too harsh on yourself. But when you reassess, there's always things that you think, oh shoot, I could have added this or I could have done that. But then also at the end of the day, you only have so much control in the edit and what makes it to screen, right? So you have to relinquish some control anyway. And so you do just sort of train yourself to not get stuck in that cycle and kind of let go. But yeah, it is quite a common feeling.
I feel it's also a moment in time you're capturing, and there are so many factors, and you're multitasking in multitude of ways, from camera movement to weather to the other actor to whatever's required of you. And so, you know, if I went back, there's things I would love to redo and add more to it or whatever, but ultimately that's where I was as an actor in that moment. And I think it is what it is. And yeah, so I don't think I would rather redo anything.
There's no guarantee that you would do it better. You know, I do think like there's a thing, you know, I think when you first start as an actor and you're always striving to try and get to something that's like, you think, oh, you know, I want to get to that. And you realize pretty quickly that you have to let go of that. If you're chasing something, then you're not really in the moment. And I think, you know, we've all created these really great working relationships where just being together, like stuff happens that you don't realize, and you just have to let it be organic, and you can't chase things. You just got to let it be, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, we are very lucky on this show. Like Katrina said, that we are all kind of quite in the moment actors. You know, some people know what they're going to do and they come to set and they do it that way. And no matter what you give them, it's kind of like acting with a brick wall. But you know,
none of us ever know what we're going to do.
What's my line? No, but I do. You know, I feel very fortunate that these guys. It's almost like being on stage with you guys every day, and it's very organic, and that that just lends to great work. So
We've always got each other's backs.
yeah.
We do.
Oh, guys. All right, so the back half of season 7 starts airing in November, and we're gonna see, yeah, that's exciting. We're gonna see 2 clips from the coming episodes. All right, I'm supposed to tell you they are not connected. I think you could probably figure it out, but we're gonna see 2 moments from upcoming episodes, and then we're gonna talk about them. We're gonna get to the Lallybrock reunion in a minute, but I love how unbothered Claire is. How far we have come.
I mean, Leary, come on.
Like, I'll be
Why should she be worried?
Did you hear it when he said Larry? Everyone's like. The Lallybrock scene is one of those tentpole scenes. That's one of those ones people have been waiting for. Talk to me about being there and having that happen. And John, I'm going to start with you because you're so central to it.
Well,
I was just going to firstly give a shout out to Kristen.
yes.
Was amazing as Jenny, and that's such a hard job to step into the shoes into the role of somebody who'd already sort of been there before, and she came in and she just did such an amazing job. So a big shout out.
Absolutely huge, absolutely. That's my mum right there, you know? It was a full circle moment. Like, here we are back in Lallybroch. Like, this is an iconic, maybe the most iconic kind of location of Outlander, certainly maybe after the Stones, but yeah. It was amazing. And yeah, getting to see like, Stephen Cree again, and and also, I love how tanned I look in that scene. Really, the Golden Globe.
America.
It was after South Carolina.
It was
Carolina summer.
It was the Carolina summer. That's it. Yeah, no, it was super cool to be back in Lallybroch. Kind of a bit of a reflective moment for me to see like how far, not just young Ian's come, but we all have since we last left Lallybroch. Yeah.
Yeah, Sam, I love how very few people can make Jamie as nervous as he is when Jenny turns to him.
Yes, wouldn't you be? I mean, she's a force of nature, Jenny, and I think Kristen just captured it beautifully. Obviously, you know, Laura Donnelly played her before and had this amazing strength to her. But we see Jenny older, and she's still got that steel and that drive and that metal, but actually she's a little bit softer as well. And I think Kristen just came in and just knocked it out of the ballpark, and there's some amazing scenes coming up that you'll see. But yeah, as I reiterate what John said there, you know, returning back to Scotland, back to Lallybroch, some amazing characters, you know, fan favourites, our favourites that you'll see. It's going to be a journey.
Yeah, I was going to ask, how much interaction did you guys have with people like Graham and like who are coming back, Lotta, and all the people that we know from seasons 1, 2, 3? How much did you guys actually get to interact on set?
Can we say without? I mean,
Yeah.
Look, Meryl's like, no.
Meryl's like,
No, I mean, you can say. You can say.
We know they're coming back.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, not. I think not. I didn't. My storylines didn't personally cross with theirs.
I'm not going to say too much.
Yeah, we can't say who's did, but they're back.
They are back. And boy, are they back, yes. And yeah, there's just obviously, you know, a lot of returning characters, you know, fan favorites and fan enemies. Leary being one of them, we've just mentioned. You know, Nell Hudson deserves a round of applause. She's amazing. Yeah, so it really is, in some ways, like lovely to return there, but it is bittersweet because there's a lot of goodbyes too.
All right. So we're gonna, some Paley members sent in questions. I have a couple questions for you guys. And then we're gonna talk the last season, very briefly, in a non-spoilery way, Meryl. And it's gonna be all very good, all right? All right, Katrina, the first one's for you. Congratulations on your directorial debut.
You know that's right. I know that's right.
I imagine it must be difficult to direct yourself as well as co-stars you've worked with for so many years.
Good acting.
So which was harder and why? Directing yourself or directing Sam? And that is from Laura Badamy.
Laura, where are you?
Directing Sam was brilliant. It was honestly, it was such all of these guys. It was such an honor. I think I realized like I would sit behind the monitor when I could, like when I wasn't in the scene, and I would have this stupid look on my face because I'd be like, you know, sort of like going along with what they were doing. But it's beautiful. Like you see the performance when you're in a scene with somebody and you see what they do, but you're not really watching it because you're in it. But then to watch it on the other side, it was really amazing to see everything that they bring, and that was such an honor. Directing myself, I don't love. In the speed of a show like this, you don't really get to go and watch everything because we've got days to make and all of that. So you're sort of, you do all the prep, you set up all the shots. We had a stand-in to be able to like frame things up, and then you have somebody who you just have to trust to be like, okay, we've got this or we don't. And it's just, you're sort of split because you're in a scene and sometimes you're thinking about all the other shots that you're gonna have to do, and like the time is running out, and then you're like, oh shit, I think it's my line. And it was just such a split brain thing. The days where I just got to do one or the other were the best. Yeah.
Want to do more?
Definitely.
Yeah. All right, Meryl, this one's for you from MK. What will production do with all the costumes and props? I hope you will make an Outlander museum.
Yes.
I mean, that remains to be seen. I know they're cataloging everything right now. Someone's specific job is to do that. In fact, we wanted to give people things, but we weren't allowed when they left necessarily, but they will be coming. But we are talking about what to do. And I mean, we have we've built such a huge place out there, this production entity that just needs to be shown at some point. So, I mean, we are talking. I mean, we do have Blood in My Blood also going, so that will be in there for the foreseeable future. But it's something I'd love to do personally, to show things off. I mean, unfortunately, so few people get to see this amazing place that we've built, and it would be cool to show it at some point.
This one is for everyone. It's a relatively quick hit answer, so we can go through it down. I'm going to start with you. It's from Shanna Daniel. Having been on various historic and scenic outdoor sets these past 10 years, which one stands out as memorable? And I don't know if it needs to be outdoor. I mean, you could just any set that stands out as memorable.
Set that stands out as memorable. Mohawk Village. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. It was amazing. Yeah.
It's great.
What about you, Richard?
I don't know, anything kind of out in the countryside, anything out in the Highlands. We shot in some incredible locations.
Hertfordshire.
Just beautiful to see, and it kind of really opens your eyes to what's on your own kind of doorstep. Like,
I think I loved being on the beach with you.
Oh,
When we were
good.
running, it was really sweet, and also
Yeah.
to have this white sand beach in the middle of Scotland. That was a really nice day. I
That
like
was
that.
a lot of fun.
Just because we went there, they rebuilt the castle, the Great Hall at Castle Leoch, and we got to revisit that and sort of go in there. And it was one of the first big major sets that we saw in season 1. To walk in there and see all the production design, John Gary Steele was incredible, and you know. I believe he took castings of the stones and would put them on set. You know, he just put so much detail, and I think, for me, that was a really special moment.
It has to be Kinloch Rannoch, where we have the standing stones. Really beautiful and special.
All right, so I heard a rumor. I just read an interview with Katrina, it wasn't a rumor, that the finale script, you didn't get to see until the very end. Like there were pieces, like it wasn't, everyone didn't get the same. This is totally wrong. You're all looking at me with like blank. Was it that everyone didn't?
In it?
Not everyone saw every part of the finale script.
Thank you. That's what I was trying to say.
yeah, but we still all found out what happened.
They don't trust
Even
me
though
at
it was
all.
redacted.
Meryl, is that because you wanted kind of like on the day, or?
No, it was more because I think the end hasn't been decided yet, one, and we wanted also to protect against spoilers and wanted to have multiple ways to do it, and Matt Roberts is still kind of deciding how it's going to end, and we wanted people to be able to sit up here and not have to lie when they said we really don't
They
know
don't
what's gonna
trust
happen.
us. It's essentially what she's saying. And she's right.
We would tell you.
Before we go, I know we're almost done. I know. Without giving any spoilers away, tell me about your best day shooting season 8, something that jumps into your mind. And Katrina, because you have the misfortune of sitting next to me, I'm starting with you.
Okay. Can I pick 2?
Yeah.
Just working with these guys, I being a director, I worked with all of them doing scenes, and honestly, just getting to watch them work and getting to I don't know, it was just such an honor, and they were like the most amazing people to work with, and it just felt like buzzy, so I'll never forget that.
I'm sorry, it's a really boring answer. Well, not boring, but it is, again, working on the last scenes that we had, the last scene with Katrina, the last scene with these guys. It just imbued every scene with so much emotion, and how can you not love working with these guys?
Yeah, as you two said, we went into the season knowing it was the last one, and so there were a lot of first times. We were like, oh, this is going to be the last time we all have this configuration or whatever. And throughout the whole 8 seasons, some of my favorite scenes, because obviously with the aspect of time travel, it's rare that we all get to be in a scene together. And my favorites are always the dinner table scenes where we're all sat down. But it's the biggest carnage because we all catch the giggles and we get nothing done. But it's so much fun, and there's a couple of those this season, and it really, yeah, it's really beautiful. They're my favorite little reunions.
Amazing.
Yeah, I think same. Those scenes coming up towards the end, I think you sort of reflect on a lot. The sort of seasons that's preceded it, the time that you've had, the scenes that you've worked on together, and it kind of comes up and bites you how sort of quickly emotional it is, and it's quite overwhelming actually. You find yourself sort of revisiting things you've done from the moment you came onto the show up until that point, and yeah, there was a lot of emotions running in those last couple of weeks, and yeah, it's been an honour and a privilege to work with these guys.
Yeah. Similarly, I would say first day of season 8 and the last day of season 8 really stick out in my head.
Okay.
First day, because we're like, who are the OGs? You know, and the crew like, oh, you've been there since the very beginning. And I'm like, am I an OG? I feel like I'm an OG. And then the last day, just the emotions kind of hitting me out the blue, just means so much to us all. Yeah.
All right, Meryl, no pressure, but you got to bring us home. What sticks out for you?
Well, I had the pleasure of
Without crying.
I mean, if you talk about who cried the most last season, it was me. I mean, not even, hands down, it was me. But I had the pleasure of wrapping everybody out and handing them flowers. And I mean, there was not one flower handover that I didn't blubber. I mean, really, I did. So, I mean, I think those were even though they were so hard, I think those were my favorite moments because it was a sense of appreciation for each of them. And in some way, I'm not embarrassed about the crying because I think it shows how meaningful this was to all of us and you know, how much we all care and what a family we truly are. So yeah, I would have to say that everyone's last day. Yeah, she's gone.
All right, guys, Outlander Season 7 will return on November 22nd. Let's give it a big hand.